With the NFL season only a few weeks away, I wanted to do a more updated predictions video. My last predictions video was early in the offseason, right after the draft. A lot of things have happened since, so I want to take that all into account while I'm making this prediction video. I will be picking every single game this NFL season, and in this video we will be going up north to the NFC North. We'll go in alphabetical order, starting with the Chicago Bears. They lose week 1 and week 2, but they get back on track and upset the Cowboys and then beat the Raiders. So they're sitting at 2-2. Honestly, if they're sitting 2-2 by the bye, that would be probably ideal for them. But man, this schedule does not get much easier for the Bears. Loss at Washington, a win against the Saints, loss against the Ravens, loss against the Bengals, even a loss against the Giants, and losing again to the Vikings. But they finally get a win against the Steelers, but they're going to lose the next two. Brutal schedule. I'm going to give them wins against the Browns, Packers, unfortunately not the 49ers, and then they get a final win against the Lions. Look, 7-10, this is not a slight on Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson is going to be a good head coach. Not 100% sold on Caleb Williams, but he has looked good in preseason. I'll give him that. Defense is probably going to be pretty solid. The overall offense looks generally good, and I think Ben Johnson can elevate this offense. But this is a brutal schedule. Like, I project 13 of these teams they go up against to have winning records. 13 out of 17. Absolutely brutal schedule. If they just had like maybe a league average, they could easily get 9-10 wins. But the NFL was not kind to the Bears this year. 7-10, this will not be a bad 7-10. They may even overperform this a little bit, but I would actually be kind of shocked if they get double-digit wins with this schedule. Unless some teams just fall off the face of the earth, it's going to be rough. Next up, we have the Detroit Lions. Very different Detroit Lions without their top offensive coordinators. Some regression is inbound. Kind of starts week 1 with the loss of the Packers, but they do beat the Bears. Losing to the Ravens, but Browns should be an easy win there. Then a win against the Bengals. I think their offense will still be good enough to score a lot of points on that Bengals defense. Not good enough against the Chiefs, but they do beat the Buccaneers. So a solid 4-3 going into the bye. Definitely not where they were last year, but it's going to take some time to get used to these new schemes, new play calling. It's going to take some time. And they go out, win against the Vikings, win against the Commanders. Not quite the Eagles. The Eagles are honestly a tier above right now. Wins against the Giants, Packers, and Cowboys. Going into LA, I'm going to give the Rams this one, but they do beat the Steelers. But unfortunately, they dropped their last 2 games to finish 10-7. It's a decent record. Definitely significantly down from where they were last year. Dan Campbell's there. I think him alone should at least keep this team with a winning record. That should be the baseline. This is kind of a low-end prediction for the Lions. I definitely could see like 11, 12 wins out of the Lions, depending how the offensive coordinators go. They just got to prove it to me. I think the Lions do have a good team. We'll see if their defense can actually stay healthy. Aiden Hutchinson was a force before he got hurt. We'll see if he can get back to that. If he can get back to that and the coordinators can at least be 90-95% of what their previous coordinators were, I think this can be a 12-win team. But right now, I'm tempering expectations. 10-7. Up next is the Green Bay Packers. And as you can see, we already have week 1 picked out for them. They beat the Lions. They don't beat the Commanders, but the Browns, most teams in the NFL are able to beat the Browns this year, in my opinion. They lose to the Cowboys, unfortunately. So going 2-2 into the bye, not ideal, but you can make it work. And out of the bye, I think they get hot. I think they upset the Bengals, beat the Cardinals, beat the Steelers, easily beat the Panthers, and even upset the Eagles. Beat the Giants, beat the Vikings, lose to the Lions. They're not going to sweep them. They beat the Bears. Their hot streak comes to an end right here with the Broncos and Bears. They do beat the Ravens, but they lose to the Vikings at the end of the season. A very strong season out of the Packers. This is definitely a tougher schedule, but I actually kind of believe in the Packers. Jordan Love looked pretty good last year. Maybe not elite, but definitely going to be their franchise quarterback. Josh Jacobs, I'm excited about. We'll see what we can get out of Matthew Golden, but even then, I do like what I see out of the Packers receiving core, even if it's a little beat up at the moment. The Packers secondary is definitely a weakness, but I think their front seven is good enough to kind of carry this defense. Micah Parsons certainly helps out. I think the offense can score like close to 30 points a game, and that should be plenty good enough for a lot of these teams. They don't go up against that many great offenses. I say this with the Commanders, the Bengals, the Eagles, the Vikings, the Ravens. I mean, this is definitely closer to a top-end prediction. But you know what? I'm kind of higher on the Packers this year. I actually have them winning the division. We'll see if that ends up being true. And the last team is the Minnesota Vikings. We already have their Week 1 matchup with a W. And they start off 2-0 on the season. But I have them losing against the Bengals. And then a 2-week trip to the UK. They lose to the Steelers, but they beat the Browns. I mean, what is this matchup? Why are we giving the UK this? I mean, I guess we give the UK pretty garbage matchups in general. But going into the bye, 3-2, solid. They lose to the Eagles. I mean, come on. They go on a bit of a losing streak here, losing to the Chargers and the Lions. But they're able to upset the Ravens. They're able to beat the Bears, lose to the Packers. Unfortunately, lose to the Seahawks. Upset the Commanders. Beat the Cowboys. I actually have the Cowboys going on a bit of a decline towards the back half of the season. Get upset by the Giants, but finish with 2 more wins at the end of the season against division rivals. A decent 9-8 record. People are sleeping on the Vikings. I kind of am with these predictions. I mean, we don't know what they have with JJ McCarthy yet. Kevin O'Connell can make any quarterback look good in this offense, especially with those receivers. Though Jordan Addison is going to miss some time at the start of the season. Hopefully Justin Jefferson's able to stay healthy. And they do have a good backfield with Dalvin Cook and Jordan Mason. Offensive line looks much better than it did last year. Defense should be pretty good. I'm just a little bit hesitant with JJ McCarthy. He's kind of an unknown right now. I mean, Sam Darnold did take this team to 14-3, so definitely possible. There's definitely a lot of winnable games. I had some upsets going either way. I could definitely see the Vikings winning 11 or 12 games. This is just kind of a low-end prediction because I'm not sure what they will do with JJ McCarthy quite yet. We'll see. But now we'll go into the division standings. With in last place, the Chicago Bears with a 7-10 record. Then we have the Vikings in third with a 9-8 record. The Lions will finish in second with a 10-7 record. And like I mentioned earlier, the Packers win the division with an 11-6 record. This is a pretty tough division to predict, and I think you can make a case for all 4 teams to maybe win the division. Probably the least likely is the Bears because new head coach. Caleb Williams does need a breakout to really be out there. Vikings kind of in third. And it's kind of like 50-50 for me between the Lions and the Packers. If the Lions can keep going where they were last year, not lose too much of a step, yeah, they can easily win the division. Packers, if they do really well, they could also win the division. We'll see. This is a tough division to predict. But let me know in the comments what you think, and I will see you guys in the next video, which should hopefully be out tomorrow. Bye.